Hey, it's David Weiner, writer and director of the In Search of Darkness documentaries. You are listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 236, where tonight we won't be reviewing anything, actually. Well, maybe a couple movies, but I am flying solo tonight. Unfortunately, Steve came down with a case of COVID, and Todd is busy with family this week, so I figured, what the hell, let's do it solo this week. This is the first time we've ever done a solo episode, so if you're a fan of me, Joe, then you're in for a treat. And if you're not, then I'm assuming you'll be shutting it off right about now. But yeah, so, hopefully Steve gets better. Thoughts to him. And yeah, hopefully next week we will be back, all three of us. We plan on doing Stranger Things next week. I'm really excited to talk about the whole new season of Stranger Things. But for now, just me, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So basically, for me, I had a good week. Sam and I went and saw Third Eye Blind. We took a trip back to the 90s. We saw them in concert, as well as Taking Back Sunday. They opened a very eclectic duo there. Taking Back Sunday honestly did not sound good. It has been a while since I've seen them, and man, that guy really shot his voice. The Red Blind did sound pretty good though. But other than that, we're going to see Nope this weekend. I am super excited for that. The early reviews for Nope, guys, have been like phenomenal. Like, I've seen people go as far to calling it a masterpiece. So my expectations, honestly, after seeing the last trailer, were pretty low. I forget what we saw. I think it was with Black Phone, and it was a trailer I hadn't seen before, and I feel like it gave away a lot of the movie. And then there was like weird bits of comedy they threw in there, and I was like, oh man, I don't know how this is going to go. But with the early buzz, the early screenings, my expectations have definitely rose. And the fact that they filmed it with IMAX cameras, I was like, we got to go see this in IMAX. So I got us tickets to the biggest IMAX screen in the area, and I'm hoping that it will add to the excitement. Speaking of Nope, I actually did. So, if any of you guys are owners of MetaQuest, which is the VR, I actually did the Nope VR experience. They've been promoting it. It is an officially like licensed thing from Monkey Paw Productions. So, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my experience in the Nope VR world. So basically, it wasn't like anything amazing, honestly, but there were a couple of really cool things. I do feel like they may have potentially spoiled some things in the world too, but like they kind of show like there's a couple of like alien dolls and masks and stuff like that. So they may have spoiled what the aliens look like, but do we know this is for sure going to be aliens yet? No. I mean, I feel like with Jordan Peele, obviously, like I feel like he wouldn't just give everything away in the trailer. And he always has something up his sleeve. So I think we're going to be in for a surprise with this movie. And if we're not, then I think we'll be in for a big disappointment because they definitely gave away too much in the trailer, a la Halloween Kills, of course, from last year. But anyway, back to the Nope VR experience. So basically, you go on to the ranch, and they give you like all these like mundane tasks to do, like clean up the horse poop in the stall, fix the security cameras, all just like really dumb stuff. There was like a couple of cool moments. Like if you look up into the sky, you will see of course, like flags from the movie poster that are like coming down. If you look up, like basically it sucks you up into the sky. You don't see like spaceships or aliens or anything like that. You literally just get sucked straight up into the sky. So that was probably the coolest experience. You get to drive like a motorcycle around, which I'm sure is going to be some sort of factor in the movie. And then you go into the main house in the ranch. There's not much in there. There's a record player, and when you play some records, you hear like some audio from the movie, nothing really too exciting. Now, what the most exciting part actually about this Nope VR experience is there's a key. There's a locked door inside the house, and when you find the key, it unlocks a whole different world you can go into, which is the world of Jordan Peele. So you transport into a different world where now you are now on a train. And if for those of you who are big fans of Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw Productions, of course, the intro to all of his movies, you are on the train with the monkey paw stirring the glass from the teapot glass from Get Out. And basically, you go through a train, and in each different car, there is experiences from Jordan Peele's movies. So the first one you get is Us, which was really cool. It plays like the music, and at one point you look in the mirror, and your your own avatar grabs you and like pulls you in, like in Us. That was really cool. And then you get some Get Out stuff where you can like sit in the chair like Chris does, and you see kind of the cotton that he picked out to plug in his ears and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And then there was a little Nope experience where you can kind of see in the trailer, it seems like they're at like maybe a baseball game or some sort of sporting event or something like that, and all the chairs are kind of tattered around and stuff like that. But overall, like a decent VR experience. I feel like they could have did a little bit better with it, but it was cool. Like I said, the train experience was a lot cooler than the actual Nope experience. But yeah. All right. So let's get into, I guess, some horror news. I know there's some really exciting stuff that came out this week that I wanted to discuss with you guys. The first, of course, being the Halloween Ends trailer. I know everyone was super excited for that. It was supposed to come out on the 20th, but it actually got leaked online, so they ended up releasing it a day early on the 19th at about 10 o'clock in the evening. So that was a nice little treat that really no one saw coming. Overall, my thoughts on the trailer were, I thought it looked pretty solid. It was a lot better than the Halloween Kills trailer. Obviously, the biggest complaint about the Halloween Kills trailer, for most people and myself included, was that it gave away so much of the movie. And there was just, like, it showed like almost like every kill in that entire movie, and it was just like, what are you doing? And when you went and saw the movie, you're like, okay, I saw this in the trailer, and it was just really annoying. So with this Halloween Ends trailer, I think they did a really good job because they didn't really give away much at all. You see kind of Laurie battling Michael, and that's it, and that's really all you need to see, right? Like, because that's like all you really care about. And it definitely got the juices flowing. Like, it got me super excited. And I mean, I did not enjoy Halloween Kills really too much, but this looks like hopefully a return to form. From with Halloween 2018 was a solid effort, and I think if they can just get back to at least that quality, I'll be overall pretty happy. Hopefully a little better than that quality. But I mean, if it can at least get back to the 2018 quality, I'll definitely be happy. What will happen in this one, we shall see. Now, of course, there's a lot of theories coming out based off this, 90-second trailer that released. And the biggest thing that people picked up on was in the beginning of the trailer, Michael Myers, we see coming up the stairs, opens the door. You see Laurie with the gun. Now, what people picked up on was when Michael opens the door, he's not missing any fingers, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, as we know, his fingers got blown off by Laurie with the shotgun in the last movie. So, the theories have started about a potential copycat killer. Are they going to go a Friday the 13th Part 5 route here, and we're going to have a imposter Michael Myers? Maybe, is it a dream sequence? I think that's probably the more likely thing, but the imposter scenario, I think, would be super interesting, right? Like, because it would just come so out of left field. And of course, with the rumors lately of, not the rumors, but the comments by, the director and John Carpenter and the FX guy on set just saying it's going to be a weird and different movie. an imposter Michael Myers, would be very weird and would be very different. And what if like we don't see Michael Myers like at all in this movie, or like at not until the last 5 minutes, and we find out the whole movie that it was an imposter Michael Myers? What would your reaction be to that? Like, would it? I mean, I feel like the fan base would go fucking nuts. It would be like a Halloween 3 scenario, and really to a Friday the 13th Part 5 scenario as well, where people just hated the movie. But would it be something different and something new to the franchise? Maybe, but I mean, I feel like overall the fan base would probably hate that. And if you're calling the movie Halloween Ends and you do an imposter Michael Myers, that maybe that would have been interesting in Halloween Kills, but to do it in the last movie would probably be a huge mistake. So we'll see how that goes. Also, interestingly enough, they actually released the synopsis of the movie, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I wouldn't read this unless if I thought it was like a huge spoiler. So I don't think there are any like major spoilers in here, and they did release it with the release of the trailer. So I am going to read it. If you're not interested in hearing it and want to be completely surprised, skip ahead a couple minutes. But here we go. So this was the official release from Blumhouse. All right, so this is Laurie Strode's last stand. After 45 years, the most acclaimed, revered horror franchise in film history reaches its epic, terrifying conclusion as Laurie Strode faces off for the last time against the embodiment of evil, Michael Myers, in a final confrontation unlike any captured on screen before. They're really pumping themselves up here. Icon Jamie Lee Curtis returns for the last time as Laurie Strode, horror's first final girl. Now, let me stop right there. I have a problem with that. She was definitely not horror's first final girl, ladies and gentlemen. They can say that all they want, but there were a few that definitely came before her. Sally Hardesty being the number one that comes to my head, that came definitely before Laurie Strode. Now, maybe she was the most iconic final girl, but definitely not the first final girl. So here we go. Here is the official plot synopsis. 4 years. So we are getting a time jump. 4 years after the events of last year's Halloween Kills, Laurie is living with her granddaughter Allison and is finishing writing her memoir. Michael Myers hasn't been seen since. So where's Michael been these 4 years? I guess we'll get the answers to that. Laurie, after allowing the specter of Michael to determine and drive her reality for decades, has decided to liberate herself from fear and rage and embrace life. But when a young man, Corey Cunningham, is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that will force Laurie to finally confront the evil she can't control once and for all. So really interesting here that they would throw a couple of these things out here. I think the biggest thing that they throw out is the Corey Cunningham character, which I think fuels the fire to this imposter Michael Myers theory. Because obviously, if this kid is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, a la, of course, Michael Myers being the babysitter killer, I think, the theory for the imposter killer goes even deeper now. So that is really interesting that they would throw that in there. Is that to throw the fan base off? Is it to throw some hints out there? We shall see, but I think that's really interesting that they would throw out that whole Corey Cunningham angle this early before the movie's even released. So we'll see about that. Also, the 4-year time jump. They're gonna have to figure out what has Michael been doing in the 4 years. Are they gonna go the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 route and have we're gonna see hobo Michael Myers kind of walking around, living in isolation or something like that? Because why would he go missing for 4 years? I just don't understand that, and I hope they can explain that well enough. I also heard recently, and this is just all rumors, but I also heard that they were going to touch on the pandemic in this movie as well, with the 4-year time jump. Do you think that's a good idea? I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary, really. I mean, I guess, touch on it if you want, but I just hope it's not like a major factor into this movie, just because I don't think it's necessary. But we'll see how that goes as well. So yeah, I mean, that's really it about my thoughts on Halloween Ends. I liked the little Easter eggs as well. I liked that we saw Laurie wearing her basically original outfit from the original Halloween. Is it too on the nose? Perhaps, but is it a really cool and fun callback? absolutely. So I'm kind of on board for that, and I think it was really fun, and it brought definitely a smile to my face. And a lot of people kind of thought maybe that could be the dream sequence of her kind of going back and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll definitely see, and I'm excited for it. And yeah, Halloween Ends coming out. All of our questions will be answered this October, and yeah, I'm ready for it, and I hope it doesn't disappoint. I just wish like they put honestly like I just David Gordon Green. I just don't love him as a director, honestly, and I just wish if they could have got like a bit. Why couldn't Carpenter have done this, right? Why couldn't they have gotten Carpenter, right? The guy's like been he hasn't made a movie in forever. I kind of wish they kind of pulled him out of retirement and was like, John, can you just make this trilogy and just that's it? Like that would have been amazing. I just don't think David Gordon Green is like the capable director for this, and the fact that he's doing The Exorcist next, like really like just pisses me off, honestly, because I feel like he's has a chance to completely ruin that franchise as well. Because The Exorcist is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I just wish it was put into better hands than him. But maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe Halloween Ends will be awesome, and he can. I mean, at least I hope he's at least learning some stuff that the mistakes he made in Halloween, and he doesn't make them again in The Exorcist. But we shall see. All right, next bit of news I wanted to get into is, of course, the Rob Zombies The Monsters trailer. This thing has really caught the internet by storm. People have been kind of shitting on this movie before, they even saw or anything to do with it. People just saw some stills and stuff like that. And, say what you will about Rob Zombie. You either love him or hate him. I'm like really down the middle with him. I was never like a huge fan of his music, but I didn't hate it. And then I really enjoyed House of a Thousand Corpses. I really enjoyed The Devil's Rejects. And I really enjoyed the first Halloween movie as well. And then after that, I feel like it's been a downward spiral. It's like each movie has progressively gotten worse. But I'm always down to like give him a try because like I hope he could catch that same kind of pizzazz he got in his first few movies. So honestly, when the first teaser trailer came out, I was kind of intrigued because like he recreated the original intro in the black and white, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So I was like, all right, this could be decent. And then he releases the official trailer earlier this week or last week, and I was shocked and not in a good way because it looked so fucking terrible. And I think the thing that really threw me off the most was the production quality. This is going to be Zombie's worst production quality I've ever seen. And people are trying to say, oh, it's intentional. Like, obviously, the zombie apologists and fans are trying to say, oh, it's intentional. The Monsters was, a low-budget, TV show and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I guess so. But that was back in the 60s, okay? Technology has changed. Like, you can't go back to that and expect people to, like, look at the Addams Family, right? That was a low budget affair, but then they made those movies in the 90s and they upped the budget and the quality, and people loved it for the most part. This just looks so amateur, and Zombie is better than this. And I'm not even, like I said, I'm not even a big zombie guy, but he is better than this, and I know he can do better than this. I don't know what the budget was for this, and actually Zombie came out and made a statement recently, defending it because there was a rumor that the budget for this was $40 million. Now, I don't know who reported on this, but it kind of got taken with. And Zombie ended up releasing a statement saying, I don't know where you guys got the idea that this was a $40 million budget. He said, but basically you could take my last 5 movies and they wouldn't even equal $40 million. So obviously the backlash on this trailer has caused Zombie, I think it's gotten to him a little bit because he, of course, is like one of the biggest Monsters fans out there. And obviously he's going to defend this movie to his death. And I'm sure he thinks he did a great job with it. No one else in the world seems to think he did a great job with this movie, folks, because the backlash on this trailer, I haven't seen anything like it in quite a long time. I haven't seen so much universal hate for a trailer. And honestly, probably deservedly so, because like I said, the production quality looks terrible. The acting looks just really bad. And like, I think the biggest mistake he did was to put this in color too, because I think if he kept it in black and white, like we saw in that teaser trailer, the production quality, he might have been able to hide it a little better. And I think it might have worked. Even like some of the, you know, low budget stuff he might have been able to hide it better. It might have looked better, but he didn't. He decided to put this in color, and the color scales and just the makeup, and it just looks really bad. And I will say one positive is Grandpa Munster, played by Daniel Roebuck. He looks great. He sounds great. And he actually looks like he might elevate this film to not being completely terrible. Sherry Moon, you know, I'm not like a Sherry Moon hater or anything like that. I actually thought she did pretty well in her first couple movies. Since then, you know, she's been, you know, adequate at best. She looks really bad here. Like, she really hammed it up. And her Lily impersonation just is not on par. And then you get to Herman Munster, and he is the biggest atrocity of this entire trailer. The voice is nowhere near the original Herman Munster's. It sounds downright just like cringe and terrible. And it's just a huge disappointment. You know, I know Zombie's a huge Monsters fan, and, you know, this is only a trailer, so, I mean, I'm still going to give it a shot, but based on this trailer, I think it's going to be maybe one of the worst horror movie of the year, or worst movie of the year contender for sure. Especially with that, you know, quality. We have, you know, just the production quality, folks. This is like, you know, high school, production quality, like really fucking poor. It looks like something you would find like on YouTube, like that a fan made, you know, movie. So shocking, you know, to say the least. And I was reading some stuff, people saying, you know, well, it was, you know, it shouldn't be a surprise. It was done by you know, it was funded by a production company that is known for making like some of the shittiest movies you've ever seen. So maybe we should have seen this coming, but I sure didn't. And, you know, I do think Rob has it in him to do another good movie. And I think he needs to be held back, right? I think just a studio needs to, or he needs like maybe a better writer, you know, because I know he writes a lot of these movies too. He needs someone. He needs a ghost writer or an editor or just someone to keep him in line. And I think he could make a decent movie again. But, you know, when they give him free reign, it just has not been good for Mr. Zombie. So we'll see how it goes with that. And, you know, that's it for the Munsters. You know, obviously I'm here talking about myself, and I'd love to hear over on our Discord your thoughts on all of this, guys. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, it's very easy. Just search the Horror Squad podcast on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then just send us a private message through there, and we will send you an invite link to the Discord. That is the only way to get in. Unfortunately, Discord makes it like really complicated, but you know, if you haven't joined our Discord yet, please join. It's an awesome way to get in on that. And one last thing I did want to say about the Munsters was the announcement that it is going to be coming to Netflix this fall, as well as the Wednesday Addams show that we found out recently too. So we're going to have two pretty big things coming to Netflix this fall for us. So, you know, there was the rumor, of course, that Zombies Monsters was going to come to Peacock, but officially it's heading to Netflix. Are we surprised it's not coming to theaters? I don't think so, especially after seeing that trailer. All right, so let's get into the next bit of some news I wanted to get into, which was the surprising announcement of Jeepers Creepers Reborn. You know, it had been announced for a while now that we're going to get a fourth installment in the Jeepers Creepers franchise, but there was like a legal battle going on with the movie. But we finally got a trailer for it, kind of dropped out of nowhere, as well as a release date for it. But a weird sort of release date, as it is getting a limited 3-day only release in theaters. It is a Fathom Events release, and it is going to be coming September 19th through the 21st in theaters only. Now, what is going to happen after that? I'm assuming it will get a VOD release or something after that, or will it only get that theater release for a while because maybe that's the only way they were able to release it due to the ongoing legal battles? That is to be seen. But as of right now, if you do want to go see Jeepers Creepers Reborn for sure, you're going to have to hit the theaters September 19th to the 21st to see that. Now, the synopsis here of it, you know what? I won't even give a synopsis. I'll kind of just talk about the trailer. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the trailer for now. I got to say, it didn't look bad. Like Jeepers Creepers 3, man, that was just terrible. Straight to sci-fi. I will say the production quality on this one does look a little bit sci-fi movie-ish. However, this looks like a lot more fun of a movie, as this one takes place at what looks to be a carnival / like haunted house vibe set, where the people go into an escape room and the creeper wreaks havoc on these people in the escape room. So kind of think sort of like a line on the lines of Hellfest, Haunt, stuff like that. So I already love the atmosphere of this movie and of the trailer. So I was really into that. Kind of gives you like a Halloween type vibe movie. So I dig that a lot. You really don't see the creeper's face a lot in this one, and probably on purpose because as many of you probably already know, Jonathan Breck did not return for the creeper. Apparently he wasn't even approached, according to him, which is shocking to me. But at the same time, I'm sure they were trying to keep budget costs down, and bringing him back probably would have cost them a bit of money. So they just got a completely different actor to play the creeper in this one, which, obviously is disappointing. You want to see that same actor come back that was in those first 3 movies. So it is a bit of a bummer. Obviously it's makeup heavy and stuff like that, but still, I mean, it'd be nice to see the same actor come back for it. Now, the other big bit of news here is, and obviously you knew they were going to put this out here because obviously the Jeepers Creepers franchise, very controversial with Victor Salva, of course, the director of the original. He was getting money for the last few movies, and obviously with his past and stuff, a lot of people were disgusted, and were not supporting this franchise because, of course, as you know, Salva, or if you don't know, was a convicted child molester and did do prison time. He unfortunately molested a child on the set of Clown House, which is another horror movie he had done back in the, I want to say, early 90s, which, I gotta say, I mean, is actually a pretty solid horror movie. But after finding out what happened, it's kind of tough to watch nowadays, and it's honestly very tough to get. It is, it's not released, I don't think, on Blu-ray DVD, and I'm sure for those reasons, for his past, and it is super hard to obtain a copy of it. I believe it might be available free on YouTube if you do want to give it a watch. But the big news here is that Salva is not gonna getting a dime from this movie. Basically, he has been completely cut off. Ties have been completely cut from the Jeepers Creepers franchise and this new Jeepers Creepers Reborn film, which could be why we are having some legal battles ongoing. But from what I understand, Victor Salva will not get a dime from this movie. So for those of you who maybe were not supporting the Jeepers Creepers franchise previously, maybe this is the time, you could come back and give this one a shot. Because like I said, the trailer did look really fun for this one. I really do love the vibe. And I think it definitely has potential, to be fun. Is it going to be anything amazing? Probably not, to be quite honest. But does it look better than 3? Absolutely. And that does bring me some bit of excitement. So will I go to Fathom theaters to go see it? Probably not. I mean, I'm hoping we'll get a VOD release and I can just watch it at home. But it's not something I don't think I would go to the Fathom events to go see. I mean, the Jeepers Creepers franchise, it's okay, but I was never a massive fan of it. I mean, I think the Creeper's a cool character and stuff like that, but just not something I think I'll head to the theater on a weekday. Unfortunately, and like I don't understand why they do these Fathom events on weekdays. By the way, who the hell wants to go to like a theater on like a Monday or Tuesday night? Not me. I'm good. It's just not how I want to ease into my week is going to the theater. I mean, maybe that's just me, but that's just not my style. All right, so that is it for the trailer news. I was 3 big trailers this week, guys. I mean, that is exciting as a horror fan, right? Like, we've been waiting for these big trailer, Jeepers Creepers, Halloween Ends, The Monsters, and we get them all in 1 week. Pretty exciting. So next bit of news I wanted to touch on here was the big news that Samara Weaving has joined the cast of Scream 6. Now, it's funny because us on this podcast previously had said how we felt like she would have been perfect casting for the last Scream movie. And, the directors did approach her to do Scream 5, and she couldn't due to, previous obligations. Well, they were able to secure her for Scream 6, and I mean, I think just a great casting choice here. What she will do in this movie, we shall see. Will she be a victim? Will she be a killer? We will find out. But, Samara Weaving, well on her way to being, the new it girl in horror for sure, between Ready or Not and now Scream 6 and Ash versus Evil Dead and The Babysitter and Mayhem. I mean, she's done a lot of great stuff, and I'm sure even more coming, so very excited for that. I think, once again, just excellent casting choice there, and it gives me some hope for Scream 6, of course, with Neve Campbell not coming back. Which, is she coming back? Is she not coming back? Once again, the rumor mill is once again just going crazy over that. Neve recently canceled a con for August, and she said she was going to be due to filming Twisted Metal, the TV series, which that sounds interesting in and of itself. But obviously the big rumor is that's just a cover up. She's really going to film Scream 6 somehow, some way, and they're keeping it a secret. They finally caved, gave her the money she wanted. We'll see. I hope so. I mean, because like a Scream movie without Sidney Prescott, it just doesn't seem right. Like, she at least needs to be in there for maybe a cameo or something like that. And if she's not, it's just, I don't know. It's just gonna be weird. I mean, granted, like, she really didn't do much in Scream 5, but maybe. You just want to see her, right? Even if it's just for a second. I mean, I know that they kind of passed the torch with this last movie and they're moving on, but you're going to have Gale Weathers back, of course. And how big of a role is she going to play? A bigger role now with no Neve Campbell there, and with Dewey, of course, being killed off in the last movie. Where does Gale Weathers go from here? Like, Dewey's always been her fallback. It's always been the story of Gale and Dewey, and now without him there, what does Gale do? What does Gale do by herself? Is she going to be an interesting enough character to carry that torch by herself? That's remains to be seen. But, there's also the big rumors that Neve is going to come back for 7, of course, because they're making this into a trilogy, which that's a whole nother thing. What is with like every horror franchise needing to be a trilogy now when they come back, right? You get the Halloween trilogy, now you get the Scream trilogy, they're making The Exorcist a trilogy of movies. I mean, obviously it's like a whole cash grab, a whole money thing, but like, can't you just come back and make like one movie and just be done with it or something? Obviously that's never going to happen because we as horror fans are just going to eat it up no matter what, and they know we will, so they'll just continue to make these movies and continue to just shove them down our throats, and we'll go and see them, even if they suck. All right, so the next bit of news here is the exciting news, finally, of Insidious Part 5. It has been rumored for a long time. We knew Patrick Wilson was coming onto this one to direct with the main character there, Dalton, grown up now and dealing with ghosts once again, which I think is actually a really cool. I think to believe they got the same exact actor back who played Dalton in that original franchise to come back for this one. So I think that's really cool. And Patrick Wilson at the helm directing, I think, is really cool as well. And I believe he's also going to be acting in this one too. As far as, I don't know if Elise is coming back for this one or not. I would assume she is, because I mean, she's, being the face of the franchise. I would be surprised not to see her in this one, but I don't see any mention of her on this article I'm reading right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for this one. I really love the Insidious franchise. I haven't disliked any of the 4 movies that have come out, and with Patrick Wilson taking over the helm, I think the franchise is in really good hands with him. I mean, I think he's a very capable director. He's a great actor, and he's been with the franchise since the beginning, so it's something he's passionate about and wants to do a good job on, because I'm sure he wants to continue directing. And if he makes a good movie here, he'll have other chances. If he makes a terrible movie here, he might not have other chances. So, but the movie has been announced that is going to be releasing in summer of 2023, July 7th, 2023 to be exact. So about a year away until we get Insidious Chapter 5. I don't know if they're calling it Chapter 5. I think they're just calling it Insidious 5 for now. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. We'll keep you up to date when a trailer drops and all that. But yeah, I'm very excited for it, and we'll see what happens with that. Another bit of news here that I found interesting is R.L. Stine announced recently that more Fear Street and Goosebumps movies are going to be coming on the way. Of course, the massive success of the Fear Street series on Netflix there, the trilogy, of course. So right back to the trilogies, ladies and gentlemen. But recently in an interview, R.L. Stine said, there's still talk about more Goosebumps movies, and I also hear rumors about more Fear Street movies for Netflix because the first ones did so well last summer. Those films kind of shocked me because they were all R-rated, and I've never done anything R-rated before. All those teenagers were getting slashed. I was like, suddenly I have a slasher movie. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it shocked Stein, right? The guy's been doing, young adult horror novels, and to see his movies get adapted into R-rated movies, that must have been kind of a joy for him, because I'm sure he's wanted to do some like brutal stuff, and he just kind of has to hold back because he knows that's his moneymaker, right? The young adult novels and stuff like that. So I think that's great. Like, I mean, I thought the Fear Street series was really solid. Like overall, I mean, were there issues here and there? Sure. But, to go bold like that and make R-rated material off material that wasn't R-rated, I think was really cool. I would have liked to have seen that personally with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark too, because my God, I think you could make an R-rated Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark like absolutely fucking terrifying, right? Like that could be like, man, that could be amazing. Like I'm talking up right now, and I'm getting personally like excited just thinking about it. So, anyone out there listening, any filmmakers, we got the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but you know what? Let's get an R-rated version, and put on Netflix. Hey Netflix, I know you listen to us every week, so just kidding. I know they don't listen at all. But man, that would be killer. I would love to see that. So maybe one day we will see that. But we're going to be getting more Fear Street for now, and I'm down for it. I think you got to be down for it as a horror fan. So we'll see about. So we'll see. And that's really it for horror news. So I guess we'll get into some what watched, and then we'll kind of wrap this little solo episode up. I started on the new season of What We Do in the Shadows that just started up recently. 3 episodes in now, I believe. And I don't know, this season so far hasn't been off, I don't think, to the best start. And I love What We Do in the Shadows, but so far the first few episodes have not blown me away. And this could be a controversial opinion, but I don't know. It's just not there for me yet this season. I think the last season too started well, but then kind of started to go downhill. So I don't know. I don't know if they're running out of ideas, or if the writing, maybe some of the original writers left or something, because the first 2 seasons, man, were just amazing. And I just feel like there's been some sort of shift. And it's not like the show's bad or anything, but it's the jokes just haven't been as good. And the whole baby Colin angle, I really dislike. And I just don't find it funny. I think that was a huge mistake on their part, honestly. I do think the new introduction of the vampire nightclub has potential to be really funny and interesting, but they like kind of already did it for one episode where they took the Baron out like in the nightclub. So is it just going to be a whole season of that, which I guess I'd be okay with, but it was kind of like, all right, we've already done this before. Let's kind of do something different if we can. So yeah, I don't know, like it, to be determined. Obviously it's only a couple episodes in, so I guess I can't be too hard on it right now, but as of right now, it disappointing, I guess I would say, but hopefully it gets better. And I mean, I'll continue to watch it because I still think it's a decent enough show. All right. So now let's get into, I guess this will be our review segment of the week. I'm just going to call this Joe Goes Solo episode, though. So when you see it, that's what it will be titled. But, this is what watch / mini review for a couple movies here that I watched. The first one I watched is available over on Shudder, and it is called Watcher. So here is the letterboxed plot synopsis. As a serial killer stalks the city, Julia, a young actress who just moved to town with her husband, notices a mysterious stranger watching her from across the street. So yeah, so this one, that's your basic plot synopsis, but basically, her and her husband or boyfriend or whatever, I think it's her husband. Yeah. I just said it, her husband, they move, to Romania because her husband has a job offer and he takes it. And, she is alone in the apartment a lot of time because he's, getting acclimated to his new job, and she starts seeing a guy watching her from across the way. And at first she thinks maybe he's just kind of like looking around, but then she waves and she sees him wave back. And then there's also a serial killer on the loose in Romania, and she thinks maybe this could be the serial killer. But then the story kind of goes, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil here, so don't worry about it, but the story kind of goes from there. Is this guy really stalking her, or is she just paranoid because there's a real serial killer on the loose? Is she losing her mind? Is her concerns valid? And that's how the story plays out. Yeah, a kind of, mystery thing like that. It's very Hitchcockian. And overall, I enjoyed this one for the most part. My biggest issue with it is that it is definitely a slow burn. It builds its way, to a climax. Now, my problem is I just don't feel the climax was too predictable. And I just feel it just didn't pay off. Had it been a better payoff, I think this could have been one of my favorites of the year or top 10 worthy. But as it stands, I think it is a good movie. I gave it 3.5 over out of 5 on Letterboxd, which equates to about a 7.5 out of 10. I guess a 7 is where I would be comfortable giving this one, because the payoff just didn't hit you, and it needs to hit you, especially when you're doing a slow burn movie like this. But kudos to the director. I mean, the movie, man, and kudos to the lead actress here. It is the girl from It Follows. I can't remember her name right now. Okay, it is Micah Monroe. Big kudos to her. I mean, she gives a fantastic performance here. I do think the setting of Romania was a good choice. It kind of brought something fresh to a story that, we've seen before, because this is sort of a Rear Window / mystery Lifetime movie-ish, but like way more elevated, obviously, than a Lifetime movie, I should say. But yeah, I mean, a great directorial debut. I believe this is the director's All right, yeah, this is her directorial debut for a feature length. She did do a segment in VHS 94, but this for this being Chloe Akuno, her directorial debut, I thought she did a great job, and I'll definitely check out what she does next. So I would overall definitely recommend Watcher, especially if you have Shudder. I think it's definitely worth your time and one worth checking out. All right. And then the other one I'm going to talk about, which I know Steve is probably going to talk about next week because he watched it as well, is the newest horror movie over on Netflix, which is called Incantation. This one inspired by a true story, quote unquote, of a family who believed they were possessed by spirits. This film follows a woman who must protect her child from a curse. So this is a Asian horror movie. It is subtitled. And overall, like, it wasn't bad. My biggest problem is, like, the movie is way too long. It's like, I think it clocks in at almost 2 hours, which is just too long for a movie like this. And it's shot found footage style, but like they take a lot of liberties with that found footage. Like, my biggest thing with found footage is there has to be a reason for the camera always to be on when you're filming a found footage movie. But in this, like, I feel like there's a lot of times there's no reason for the camera to be on, and the other times it doesn't even feel genuinely found footage. It's like the camera's like set up like almost like you're watching it from an apartment an apartment camera or something, and it's like, okay, well, that doesn't make much sense at all if this is all supposed to be found footage. So it's like it's very lazy in its found footage thing. I do think there's very effective scares though in this movie. I will give it that for sure. So I would say, like, it's a decent, one-time watch. Is it something I'll ever watch again? No, definitely not. But if it's late at night and you're looking for something a little spooky to watch, I think this is definitely one worth popping in. I will say also the timeline does get confusing at times, as well, as there is like jumps back and forth, but it's not done well. So at times you're like, okay, well, which kind of like timeline are we in? Are these even the same characters? So it does get a little confusing here and there, but you do figure it out. I mean, it's not extremely confusing. There were, when it first happened, I was like, okay, what's going on? And then you kind of figure it out. But I think it could have been done a little better there. So overall, with Incantation, I would give it a mild recommend. I give it a 6 out of 10. And I gave it a 3 out of 5 over on Letterboxd. If you're not following me on Letterboxd, feel free to, by the way, Horror Squad Joe over on Letterboxd. And I guess that's really it. I mean, I just wanted to put something out this week. We've only missed, I think, like 1 week ever since we've been the Horror Squad. And honestly, we were going to just completely skip this week. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just kind of throw myself out there as solo and see how it goes. And if it sucks, we just won't put it up. But I think this was like a decent enough episode to put out to give you guys something to listen to for the week, because we like super appreciate all you guys, the listeners, for listening every week. And we try to put out content for you guys every week. So this is kind of just like a thank you to you guys for listening every week. And I hope I made it, somewhat enjoyable for you guys this week. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Don't forget about our event coming up October 22nd with Omri Katz in Salem, Massachusetts. The entire Horror Squad is going to be there, including Sam from Halloween Happy as well. She will be there as well. So if you would like to meet the whole squad and former squad member Sam, we will all be there hanging out with Omri Katz from Hocus Pocus. October 22nd, Silver Moon Comics and Collectibles, followed by a very special screening of Hocus Pocus with a Q&A hosted by us with Omri at the Cinema Salem. So we really hope to see you guys there. That one's going to be a really cool event. We're going to have a lot of really cool stuff going on. We're going to be working with some other local businesses as well with some, we're going to have some special limited edition prints and stuff like that. So if you're local to the area, even if you're not, I mean, Salem in October is the place to be. Obviously, it's tough to get a hotel in Salem, but you can definitely get hotels in the surrounding areas. So don't let it deter you, because it's just a short Uber ride from Peabody, Danvers, a lot of surrounding towns, or even stay in Boston. It's only about a half hour ride, or just a short 25-minute train ride directly from Boston into Salem. So you can stay in Boston, explore Boston, and then come into Salem. So we hope to see you guys there. It is going to be a great event. And if you are coming, make sure to message us and follow us on our social medias for all updates: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. Also, any questions, comments, anything, you can always email us at the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. And Discord and merch. We also have merch. TeePublic. Search the Horror Squad Podcast over on TeePublic. We have t-shirts and sweatshirts and flags and coffee mugs, pillows, all that good stuff. So if you want to support the podcast, you can snag some merch from TeePublic. And that is it, guys. So next week, we are going to be hopefully back full. Me, Todd, and Steve should be back to review season 4 of Stranger Things. Super excited to talk about that. The Wrath of Vecna. And, of course, everyone's favorite Eddie Munson doing that Master of Puppets. Cannot wait to talk all about that next week. And, yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you, and we will see you next week. See ya.